It's this epic disaster once again for you. Well, I don't know. What are we on a Monday? I don't know. We're just coming at you at all kinds of times and stuff, and we don't know what we're doing.
I'm sweaty.
It's a little warm up here.
I'm hot.
It's like 1,000 degrees in Atlanta.
I'm whining.
I know. I would prefer you not be.
Fuck off.
Hey.
Hi.
All right. So we have. We usually start our show with a beer. We're gonna do a little beer.
Yep.
And so we might have a potential problem with this beer. Like we did one recently, it's possible we've done this beer before. We're kind of at a point now where we've had so much beer on the show, we can't hardly remember if we have done them before. I know we did. This is Three Philosophers beer.
No,
We did a Three Philosophers before, but I don't think it was this one. And so I'm a little bit. I think we're safe.
This is by Ommegang Brewing,
Uh-huh.
and it's called Three Philosophers.
Yes.
It's basically a mixture of a quadruple
It's dark.
and a Belgian Kirk,
I like the look of it.
or Belgian Creek, and
Whoa, it's very
made
fragrant.
It's made with cherries.
It smells good.
Let me do this.
You want to pour my beer?
I'm pouring your beer
So
because
controlling.
you don't do it correctly, and you will waste good beer if I allow you to pour
It
it.
smells good. It's one of the better smelling beers we've had. I would say color-wise, it's very dark amber, really almost brown. There's stuff floating in it.
Sediment. Because
Yeah.
this is in a bottle. This is a 750 bottle.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of our friend Doug and a Pub's favorite size bottles to drink.
So you decided, in honor of Doug, you're gonna drink one of those.
Well, it was either this or it was either this or nothing today. That's how I felt. This or nothing.
You mean beer-wise?
Yes.
Okay,
So this is what we're having.
we're having it. Here we go. Then
All
let's
right.
let's try our
Sniff it.
our beer.
Huff it first.
I did. I sniffed it.
What do you huff?
It's not as fragrant when I'm directly sniffing as it was when you popped the cork and poured it. It smells a little just regular beer smell.
What did you smell when I first popped the
I
cork?
don't know. It's kind of fruity, I thought.
Well, it is made with cherries. I just had a cherry downstairs too.
Okay.
Okay.
It's all kinds of flavors in there.
Okay.
It's not, it seemed like it would be cold. It's not ice cold.
Well, I stuck it in the freezer when I got here just to try and cool it off because it was 1,000,000 degrees in my car from
Yeah.
the liquor store to here.
And your air's out.
And-
it's the worst time for your air to go out. And not only that, but the worst summer because this is one of the hottest summers.
Funny story.
On record.
Funny story. I have reverted. I don't know if that's the word.
Perverted, I think, is the word
that's,
you're looking
that's
for.
a constant for me. But I have I've started misting myself with a spray bottle
Uh-oh.
in the car with the windows down
Uh-huh.
while I'm driving in the hot heat.
So, okay. Have you gotten one of those little misting fans that you can turn the fan on and it'll blow mist on you while you're doing it?
I would love to have one of those. I would love to have one of those automatically mist me that I could just post or stick to the dash so that it would just, have this nice breeze and then mist like every 10 seconds, a mist of water. Because what I'm doing now is I bought a spray bottle.
Yes.
I have a spray bottle in my car, and I am misting myself. Now, of course, it's also like the surface of the sun is right in front of you at all times when you're outside. So I have to wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
So I'm misting myself, and my sunglasses get all watery. And I don't care. I don't care. It's worth it if I can barely see out of my sunglasses because then I'm not melting.
I have total sympathy for you. I mean, I've had air conditioning problems in my vehicles off and on the last 5 years. It's been awful. You remember that truck?
Yeah.
Silverado?
Yeah.
The big Chevy Silverado, 97?
Yeah.
Chevy Silverado that
Which
I had for a long time.
I drove a lot.
When I first bought it, oh man, air conditioned, perfect. Great air conditioning, cold, ice cold. I
Right.
bought it and then, it all leaked out and then it never had air conditioning again. I think I went and I got air conditioning put into it. It worked. And then like the next year it went out and I went and the guy said that there was a hole in the radiator where the air conditioning thing and it would be like real expensive to fix it. And I just said, screw it. And it was hot all the time.
All the time.
I hated that.
All the time.
And then I've had it off and on in all my vehicles. I'll have air conditioning for a while, then they'll go out.
So, I had a 97 Ford Explorer that I was driving, and I drove it for many years. I got it in 2011, and I drove it until last year.
Yeah.
And, early last year. And that thing, the AC was kicking.
It'll freeze you out, those old cars.
It was so
Heck yeah.
good. When I bought this little Hyundai that I drive now, the AC was not as good, but it worked.
Right.
And then it just stopped working. And it decided to stop working about a month ago, possibly even 6 weeks ago. So I have been suffering. And I'll tell you what, if I were driving down the road doing 90 all the time with the wind just, it would be better. That's not my life.
No.
On the way to work, that's my life. But in the way to work, it's maybe 80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
On the way home from work, it's pushing 100. And I'm in stop-and-go traffic in 8 lanes of interstate.
That's no fun. Now, have you gotten a quote on what it's going to cost you to fix your air conditioning?
Not yet.
Because here's the problem.
What?
You're thinking like $400, $500, $600.
Yeah.
I recently took my car in.
Right.
And I was like, oh, crap, here we go.
Here we go.
And I took it in to get my air conditioner fixed. $25.
That's what you told me. You said it was a
$25.
sensor or something?
There was some little tiny piece thing that they just
Right.
had, and it's ice cold now. It's been perfect ever since.
Now,
You just never know.
You did tell me that already.
Yes.
So here's what's happening in my mind, because I am taking my car in. Well, to the people that are listening, I'm taking my car in this week.
Yeah.
To you, I'm taking my car in next week. And I am going to cross all my fingers and toes and knees and elbows and everything and hope that it's something small
Yeah, that'd
like
be great.
that.
That would be great.
Fabulous.
Perfect.
But the reason I'm waiting until next week is I literally had to do some financial finagling just so that I could be prepared for it to be $400 to $600 fix, because I tried to put some Freon in it. You buy the stuff in the can, and I tried that.
It just comes right out?
No, it doesn't go in.
Oh.
It won't go in.
That's weird.
Yeah, like we opened the thing, we did the thing, we put it on, nothing happened.
That's very strange.
It won't go in. And when you're supposed to just like pull the trigger back a little bit, and it's supposed to show you the pressure in there as it is. And we did that. It says it's full, which means it's not just Freon. To me, that's what it means, because I gave that can to a coworker who was having the same problem. The can is not defaulty because it worked on his car.
But that's the same. Now, I'm not saying the same problem with yours is what happened to mine, but mine was full of coolant, refrigerant, whatever.
Right.
And it still wasn't working.
Right.
So, but that little switch is what it was. I fixed that. It's working now. It's fine.
Well, I'm
Never
taking
had
it
to put
to
any
this.
more in.
I'm taking it to this little place that I've taken this little car a couple of times now. I took it in there the first time when I got most of the way to work, and all of a sudden my car started going kung 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 kung.
Oh,
right.
The kung is awful.
Kung kung kung
Yeah.
kung. And my check engine light had come on.
Uh-oh.
So what happened is I blew a valve gasket. So I had taken it to the little Pep Boys by where I work, and they were awesome. Leah is the manager over there. She rocks. She gave me a great quote, and then she took the parts off of it and all that, and it was great, fabulous, wonderful. And then I had another problem with it, which was the brakes. So I thought, well, I'll take it back there. So I did. She was great again. She did the same thing.
They should
she
change
helped
it
me
to
out.
Pep Girls.
They should. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Leah tomorrow, and I'm going to make an appointment for next week. And
Tell her you'll buy her a beer.
I'm going to say, listen, Leah, I don't know if you're just hot for me or what. I'm down if you are. But, I need some work on my car.
Tell her to listen to the podcast, except that part about being hot.
So
All right.
maybe that part.
Let's play a little bit game of Would You Rather, because we do this at this point of the show, and we got some things we got to do today.
Yeah.
Would you rather? A game of Would You Rather. Hey, you remember what we talked about the my eyeglasses?
Yeah.
I've taken two of my eyeglasses from up here downstairs, and now I don't have many left. This is might
Well,
be
you
the
have
last
one
pair.
around your neck right now. Those are your neck glasses.
Yeah, but
And now you just found one on the bench.
all
and
right,
put
go
it on
ahead and throw your
face.
blue stone.
Would you just stop? Are
Go
you
ahead.
rushing me?
Blue stone.
Why are you rushing me?
Blue.
I feel
It's gonna
very
be blue.
rushed.
It's gonna be blue. Go ahead, try it.
It's red.
All right, red stone. is blood and gut. No. It is pain, fear, and discomfort.
Which could be blood and guts.
I don't know what's going on with these glasses, but I can't read one of them. It's like somebody else's prescription. All right, would you rather sleep naked in a 10-foot by 10-foot room with 100 black widows? I don't know if they're talking about spiders or widows. Or 10 rattlesnakes. 10 rattlesnakes, 100 black widows. You're naked in a 10-foot by 10-foot room. You're in prison, basically.
And I have to sleep.
And you got to go to bed. Do you want to go to bed with 100 black widows or 10 rattlesnakes?
And this card has been in my head. That's what's happening. This card is in my head. These are my dreams that it's talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm not happy. I'm not comfortable.
Yep.
Got some anxiety going on.
I mean, you can't really choose from those two, but I guess you got to.
Snakes.
That's what I would pick.
Totally. Snakes.
Because most of the time, snakes leave you alone. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to live with 10 rattlesnakes, but they might not bother you.
Right. And how many spiders were there?
100 black widows.
Pass.
I think ultimately it's just like you're going to die. Just which way do you want it to be the fastest way to die?
And they didn't say there were venomous snakes.
They're rattlesnakes. I mean.
Oh, they did say rattlesnakes.
Yeah, those are venomous.
Those are venomous.
Yeah.
Those will kill you.
All right, my turn?
Your turn.
Should I do it? Should I
grab the stones and throw them?
Should I tell you what I would rather do?
Yes, I would like you to tell me what you would rather do.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and throw my green stone here. Here we go. That's the one I meant for you to throw.
Yeah, it's blue.
Uh-huh.
So that adds to your theory of always being ahead of the game with your psychic abilities.
Yeah, that's what happens.
So I'm going to use your glasses.
If you can read out of those, I don't know what it is, but I can't.
All right. Yeah, I can totally see out of these.
Oh,
okay.
Maybe they're yours.
I don't have any.
Oh.
You said blue. So blue is appearance and embarrassment. My appearance often embarrasses me.
If you're naked in a room with 100 spiders or 10 snakes, that's pretty embarrassing.
I don't give a shit at that point. I'm like, you can look at me, I can bend, you can see all the fat on all the things. I'm scared. It doesn't matter. There's no embarrassment.
10 by 10 room.
Okay, so would you rather leave a slime trail everywhere you walk? That reminds me of some horrible third grade joke about girls.
I kind of do.
Or emit exhaust fumes. You do that too.
Both of them. So now it's saying exhaust fumes. I don't think it's meaning.
No, it's meaning actual
like
exhaust.
A bus.
Yeah.
So
or a slime trail.
I'll go with the exhaust.
Really?
Yeah. You don't have to clean it up.
It just dissipates. Yeah. But nobody will ever walk behind you.
That's kind of good, I guess.
Well, they wouldn't walk behind you with a slime trail either because they'd be slip and sliding all over the place. Unless they were into that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to kind of update my story from last week. You know, we ripped out our vanity and we put a new sink in. My wife did this, and everything was great. The dude came over and replaced the vanity because I could probably do it, but I just don't want to. It's plumbing, and I just don't want to mess with it. So this guy had credentials, had reviews. Seemed like a great dude, so we had him to come over to do the stuff. So
where'd you find him?
I think my wife found him on, I don't know if it was
Nextdoor or Yelp.
What's
or
that?
something?
Jane's List or whatever.
Angie's List.
Angie's List.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know if it was that, but anyway, he had some recommendations. So he came over and he did all of this stuff, and he had to kind of repipe the sink stuff
because of the way it was.
Yeah, it's old style. This house is 80s, and so he had to kind of and he fixed it all up and put it all together in probably 3 hours, and it's done.
Nice.
So that was awesome.
Good.
Yeah, and we were fairly pleased with it. We saw the final.
I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so everything was kind of cool, and then that he did that in the morning.
Okay.
And then at night, we're getting ready to go to bed. Everything we've done, when we've watched TV, we've eaten, we've had everything. It's like 9:30, 10, whatever. We're getting ready for bed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm in the shower. I take a shower. I'm in the shower. And all of a sudden, I hear the fire alarms go off.
What?
And so the fire alarm is screaming.
Did you run naked from the shower?
It's a fire. It's a fire.
Did you run naked from the shower? That's what I want to know.
I kind of did. I didn't get naked. I wrapped a towel. I had to dry off real quick because I was about done anyway and I was getting out. I actually almost just said, somebody's cooking something or whatever.
You're like, I'm in the shower. I'm wet. I'm fine. I'm not going to die.
First of all, I'm the one that sets the alarms off, not my wife. So that just didn't seem right. So I thought something's going on. And I didn't hear her making a big to-do about something. I thought, what if she's on fire?
My wife is on fire.
What if the house is on fire? So I kind of went out and I thought, that's weird. So I came out, didn't see anything. I start going out of the bedroom to find out what is going on. And as I starting to pass through the door, water's dripping down from the ceiling. And I look up, and there's the fire alarm, and water is dripping out of the fire alarm.
Out of the fire? So that's why it came on.
That's why it came on.
Oh, my gosh.
We have a stupid fire alarm, apparently. It doesn't know the difference between fire or water. It should have said, I'm drowning.
I'm drowning.
But it was saying fire. Anyway, and then next to that, it's dripping from the ceiling.
No. And that bathroom that you did is just above your bedroom there by the door.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I was looking for my wife. She was upstairs trying to find out what's going on. She was looking around. There was no water leaking anywhere. We couldn't find anything.
No.
So she turns off the faucets upstairs, and which, I didn't think that would have anything to do with it because that would just stop the faucets. It's not going to stop the leaking.
Oh, she turned off like underneath the sink.
The little valves.
Those little valves.
But it didn't work. So water is still coming down. And and it's getting a little bit worse. So we have to go out eventually to the front of the house where the water, the valve is, whatever you call it, the water meter, and we turn that all the way off.
You have a water key?
Yes.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind at a later date.
It came with the house. So we and you can do it with a pair of pliers, but we turn it off, and so now we don't have any water in the house. It's still dripping, but after several minutes, you can tell it's starting to go less and less. So my wife is starting to get really
panicky
enraged.
and enraged.
Yeah, so she's texting the guy and saying, this is what's happened or whatever, and he's not answering. We figured he's probably in bed.
Right.
So
what time was this?
10 o'clock maybe.
Okay.
So, and so we get buckets. We're putting buckets in our bedroom on the floor, which I've never have to do. And this is a brand new ceiling. We just had our downstairs renovated, so that whole ceiling is brand new.
It's just been redone.
So it's bubbling. I mean, the drywall on the ceiling has these big bubbles in them of water. So I just thought I'm going to have to burst the bubbles. So I got a knife and I poke them so water will just pour out. And water does that. And it's up there in the ceiling, and I know it's in the ceiling. So I just take a knife and I poke through the drywall and make a bigger hole so more water will come out. So that way water's not sitting up there. And because it starts traveling, you could see where it's traveling all the way to the other end of the
room.
Yeah.
And then it's going to come down and then ruin your window pane. Yeah.
It was a nightmare. Mm-hmm. And so finally with the water off, no more water. I mean, it starts gradually, the dripping comes less.
Did the bubbling go away? Like, is it flat now? Well, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. I'm ahead of you.
This morning, it had dried a bit. Okay. So there was some areas that were worse than others. But some of the places where it had started bubbling up had kind of gone away. But some actually had gotten worse. You could just see, like, the paper from the drywall was, like, just pregnant. I mean, big.
Yeah.
So anyway, so probably 6 o'clock this morning, he texted us and said he would be over to fix it. And so we just thought, well, we'll wonder what would happen if we turn the water back onto the house. So we went and we turned the water back onto the house. And I don't know, 4 minutes later, it starts dripping again.
No.
So we have to turn it back off. So the dude shows up.
So you got a shower, but your wife didn't.
Well,
that's jacked up.
She took a shower this morning. We turned it back on just so she could shower.
Oh, okay.
Turned it back off.
Well, yeah, you didn't.
So
want
the
her
dude
to
comes
stink
up, he moves everything, he looks at it, and he says, "Yeah, it was leaking from the hot water." He said, apparently, and he's like, when I put the new vanity in, I must have hit that thing and kind of loosened it up. So he did some adjusting on it and fixed it. It hasn't leaked all day, so I'm hoping
Well, it sounds like if you were already seeing leaking after 10 minutes of turning it back on,
Yeah.
and after his repairs, you've had it on all day, and
But
it's
my
not
concern is
sounds like it's fixed.
My concern is like 2 years from now. That's what I think. It's just like, because I know so many people that's just like, I'm just going to fix it as best I can so I can get out of here.
Yeah.
And then 2 years from now, it's going to come apart. No one's going to remember who did it anyway. It's not going to affect me.
Well, I used to be married to a plumber, and I'll tell you that I've watched him in action. I've watched him work. I actually helped him work a couple of times. And when they get out their blowtorch and they got that tape that they use, and they use the flux and everything, and they get in there, those are pretty tight seals. If something does happen in 2 years, it won't be because of what he did. It'll just be because things fail.
We're on about 2 years from our house renovations, and we're starting to find things out now that I don't know if they cut corners or they didn't do it right or didn't do it well, and I just feel like, I mean, I've worked in the type of company that I do. I've worked and know of companies that kind of have this, let's do it this way for now and get the heck out of here.
Right.
And then it'll fall apart and we're already done.
And
We've got our money. We're paid. And I've never been that way, and I don't like being that way, and I like it when people aren't that way.
But in today's age with Yelp and whatnot, people still have to be very, very careful about things like that, because that company, if it still exists, when things break that they fix that should have lasted much, much, much longer, you can still put a review up 2 years later and say, this should have lasted a decade, and here it is 2 years later. They came in, they fixed it, they put a Band-Aid on it, and that is it. And that will affect them. So I think that companies that are worried about social media and about their reviews online will probably still do their best.
Well, this guy, I mean, to his credit, came out first thing this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably had other jobs today.
Yeah.
So he came out immediately, early as he could.
Mm-hmm.
He was very apologetic. He worked on it. He fixed it. He's going to come back. He's going to fix the drywall.
Oh, in your ceiling?
Yeah, it was kind of his fault. But
so what's the damage up there? What's it look like?
I mean, it's drywall damage. There's going to have to be some, but it isn't like going to be the most expensive. Drywall's not that expensive to fix.
Okay, yeah.
So he'll do it, mudding and all that kind of stuff, and fix it up. So I mean, he was very apologetic. He was kind of embarrassed about it, obviously,
Sure.
and so. But see, like we had an air conditioning company that fixed our air conditioner last month, and they didn't fix it, and it was maybe a week and a half before they came back out to try to fix it. They got paid, and then they were like, well, we'll come tomorrow. And then they're like, maybe the next day, maybe the next. They kept putting it off.
So this guy was on it.
He was immediate there.
So he
that's a
deserves
good thing.
good review.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think, and then he's going to come back and do the drywall. So, I
If
don't
he's
think
going
he
to
was
do
ripping us
drywall,
off.
if he's going to do drywall and mudding, is he going to paint your whole ceiling too?
It'd be nice.
Because
No.
otherwise you have to, because you're going to have a big patch.
But I was painting it anyway. It wasn't really.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's still in the process of being painted. So, anyway, yeah, that was the disaster that happened.
I'm so sorry.
When you try to do something yourself.
And the whole
to save money.
purpose of pulling that out is because your mother-in-law's coming.
Yeah, she's here.
She's here today.
She's done.
She arrived today.
Yeah, they're downstairs partying right now.
Yeah, without us.
But I mean, it was that. But we've been talking about doing it for a while anyway. So
Yeah.
she just pulled the trigger. She said, "Let's do it." Anyway, I just wanted to kind of do you an update on the disaster.
Oh, by the way,
God.
one thing I didn't mention about this beer, it's 9.7% alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what goes good with alcohol? You know what goes good with beer?
Burgers.
Burgers.
Yep.
You know what we're going to do right now?
We're going to eat a burger.
Okay. We talk a lot about being vegetarian. We're both vegetarian.
Yes.
We've talked on the show a lot
Wait,
about.
no, I'm not vegetarian.
Well,
I'm pescatarian.
Pescatarian.
Yeah.
You're always pest. Being a
Shut
pest to me.
up.
But we talk on the show a lot about the Impossible Burger. We've had the Impossible Burger here around town. And as a lot of people might know, some people don't, Burger King just added the Impossible Burger to their menu, all Burger Kings all across the country.
I think you just said that on the last podcast.
Well,
Then the people that are listening should know that.
they should know it if they listened to it last week. So what I thought would be awesome, because you haven't had it, have you? You haven't gone to Burger King.
Not the one from Burger King.
Me
no.
either. Because I think this is the week they had it come out. Our good friend Mike Faber, who was on the show back in December,
Yeah.
he went to Burger King, had one. I was reading his kind of review of it this morning,
Yeah.
and so I thought, well, let's do it. Let's live on the podcast. Let's have an Impossible Burger from Burger King.
Brought us a burger.
I brought us a burger, and so what
Whip
we'll
that
do.
puppy out.
We will.
So is it the Whopper? Like, is it the Whopper
It's the
size?
Impossible Whopper.
Okay.
With cheese.
Thank you.
And I would say take the paper off and cut it in half, and we will both try it. We're going to sample it.
Okay.
It's a big burger. I hope people...
There ain't no cheese on here.
I said cheeseburger.
There's no cheese.
Well, I'm sorry.
I don't know how you expect me to eat a burger without cheese.
You can go get some cheese, but I ordered a Impossible Cheeseburger. They didn't do the cheese. So that's one strike already.
Bastards. All right. So
Well, let's describe what we have. It's actually a large bun.
Well, it's
sesame seed bun.
It's a Whopper size. It's Whopper size, and it has the Whopper toppings, except for the cheese. So it's got the mayonnaise, because they put mayonnaise on theirs, which I love. Lettuce, onion, tomato, and pickles.
Yeah.
I love pickles too.
And it's been here at the house for about 40 minutes, so it's probably a little cooler than...
Yeah, it's not going to be hot.
It's flame grilled, I guess.
I'm going to take my bite first. So you keep
But we're
talking
going to test it out here, and we're going to tell everybody what we think about it on the show, live on the show, on the podcast. I'm going to put mine in my mouth right now, and then I'm going to stop talking. I don't know if it's...
You can't yet. I'm still chewing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that it's a good idea for us both to be chewing at the exact same time. That would be kind of rude. You got mayonnaise on your mouth. Looks like you've been...
Blowing a seal. I mean...
Hey. I was going to say, it looks like you've been eating a burger.
Oh, well...
The one thing I don't like, which I don't like... I'm not an onion person.
I love onions.
So I would have taken the onions off, but I just wanted it to be a regular burger. Are you done? Can you talk now?
I can speak now, yes. I get Whopper flavor, which is just your basic Whopper flavor. Everybody who eats fast food knows the difference between the taste of a McDonald's burger, a Burger King burger, and a Wendy's burger, and any other place that serves burger in your area. And this just tastes like a Whopper to me, because you get the mayonnaise, the pickle, the tomato, the lettuce, the onion, and the bun. And to be honest with you, that Impossible Burger is so thin, I can barely taste it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I finished my bite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish I had cheese on it.
Yeah, it needs cheese.
So, okay, I've had, let's see, I'm going to have to say 5 to 8 Impossible Burgers.
Around town.
And I've had more than that, but...
At 5 to 8 different places.
Different locations.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting how, I guess it's the same with all burgers. It's kind of interesting how different places can make it taste different. The same burger, basically.
Right.
Doing different things to it. So I have my favorite places to eat the burger. And now we have a new place, Burger King. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this is, of all places I've tried the Impossible Burger, this is the worst Impossible Burger I've had.
Okay. Is it just that you don't like Burger King's way of making their burgers?
No,
or is it just that you can't barely taste the burger?
Well, that's kind of true. It's hard to find it. Now, you can get a double. This is a single.
But this is so expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can get a double if you really want all of that. And I get a double when I go to Grindhouse here locally.
Oh, do you really?
I always get the double.
I can't handle That's too much. Man. That's too much meat.
That's awesome.
It's too much.
This, to me, and I could taste it. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to use the bun. I'm just going to eat the burger. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of prefer that in a way.
Well, it has that.
But
it has that flame broiled grill taste.
Yes.
That Burger King is known for.
But every place I've had the Impossible Burger has that.
Yeah.
So to me, now when I had it raw just now, not raw, but I mean without all the other junk.
Plain, yeah.
It tastes a little bit like Impossible Burger. But to me, it tastes like other soy-based veggie burgers that I've had. And even like...
that tastes like the Beyond Burger.
It totally tastes like the Beyond Burger.
I think they're still using Beyond. I don't think that's impossible.
Well, I don't think they've ever used Beyond. Have they?
I think so.
But they can't say it's impossible if it's not the Impossible Burger. They don't serve the Beyond Burger. But you're right. That was one of the comments I was going to have. It tastes to me a lot like the Beyond Burger.
Yeah.
And I do like the Impossible Burger better.
Much better.
Beyond Burger. So
I don't care for the Beyond Burger because it tastes well when I make it at home anyways. I can't say I don't like it elsewhere because I haven't tried it. But when I make it at home, I don't have a grill.
Yeah.
So I make it in a fry pan. And the Beyond Burger, I think, is made to grill, and it has oils and things in it that if it's not grilling, those can't drip off. And in a fry pan, it tastes oily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, and I don't know the answer. And I don't know that either of us are going to know the answer to this because neither of us do burgers.
Yeah.
And I haven't eaten a Burger King since I was a kid, I guess. So it's been a long time.
Not an actual burger, but you and I used to get their black bean burger or their veggie burger.
Yeah, their veggie burger, and I've gotten that fairly recently.
Are they still serving that on top of the Impossible
I'm going to guess
burger?
they're not, but I don't know.
So they've replaced their veggie
I mean, it was like the Morningstar Farm veggie burger.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is more meaty. So, what I was going to say is, if you go to Burger King or McDonald's, I might exclude Wendy's, but you're not going thinking, I'm going to get the best burger ever made.
No.
I mean, you can go to a restaurant and get a big,
Why would you
juicy-
exclude Wendy's?
Because Wendy's burgers are pretty darn good. I mean,
You have this ability to remember 25 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Last time you had a Wendy's burger.
It's been quite a while ago, but unless they've changed their formula.
Was
and,
Wendy's like your favorite?
of all of like the fast foods, they had I think their burgers were better than almost anybody's.
I did enjoy
Now
them.
people
They
can
were expensive.
People can correct me on this. Those who eat burgers now can please do write in and tell us if Wendy's still makes the best burger of all of these. Now, obviously the grill from Burger King is great. I mean, but Wendy's kind of did that too. I think they grilled their burgers.
Yep.
So I guess what I'm getting at is you can't really hold the Impossible Whopper to a higher standard than the regular Whopper. So the regular Whopper is not going to be the best burger ever made. It's a burger.
It's a
So
Whopper.
when you need
Yeah.
fast food, when you're out and you just need something really quick, you go there and you get that. So this serves the same function. So in that, I could say, sure, I would, and I will get this again when I am out, when I'm working. I need a quick
Fast
burger.
food, yeah.
I will order this.
Yes.
We go to Burger King a lot when we're on the road. Like we'll go out
Because
and
they
get
serve
stuff.
a veggie burger.
Yeah, the guys that work for me are like, hey, pick me up a Whopper, whatever. And then I always have to go somewhere else for myself,
And
or
that's
I get the Burger King veggie burger.
Right.
So now I can get this, and
You'll eat it.
It's not. I mean, if I was going to grade it from 1 to 10, 6.5 is what I would do.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that great of a burger, but
Here's what I would like to do. I would like to challenge our listeners. I'm
Okay.
just going to throw a little challenge out there. Those of you that eat fast food, I'm not asking anybody that wouldn't normally eat fast food to do this. But if you're the kind of person that would run by Burger King on a regular basis or even just the occasional basis and get a Whopper, what I'd like you to do is next time you go, like maybe get a Whopper and this, or
just
this, and compare it. Like, because if you already know what a Whopper tastes like, get this one instead, and try it and see what you think. And then I'd like them to let us know, because I'm not going to go get a regular burger
Right.
and compare, but they can if they are meat eaters. And I would appreciate knowing their thoughts.
I'll tell you what I think the difference is. I think the taste is going to be very similar. I think even the texture is going to be very similar. The actual Whopper is going to have more juices in the burger itself.
Right.
Whether it's fats or whatever the juices are that are in the actual
Right.
Whopper, it's going to be a little more juicy. This has much less moisture in it.
In the patty itself.
I'm not going to say it's a dry burger,
Right.
But it, as far as how it compares to the Whopper, I don't think. I think taste wise it might be similar, but you will be able to. I think the mouthfeel is going to be very, very different.
Right.
So, anyway, this is not a commercial for Burger King.
We're just trying it. We're just reviewing it.
This was just something we decided to do since it's out, and I've kind of been waiting on it for quite a while. I've got to say, it's not something I will go to all the time, but it's great that it's out there.
On
I'm
the
glad they're
road,
doing it.
yeah.
Probably, I don't know. I was going to say I probably won't go any more than I did to get the veggie burger before, but I don't know that I would say that because I'm a fan of the Impossible Burger. So, let's say maybe 10% more. I'll go and get this. Occasionally, there's just a Burger King down the road, so I might be sitting at home working and just think, I got that craving.
And here's the thing: if you're just sitting at home and working, you think, God, I want an Impossible Burger, you could do one of three things. You could run down to the Grindhouse in Decatur,
Yeah.
and get an actual Impossible Burger,
And that's my number one.
where you will then spend
Yeah.
a good deal of money.
Yeah.
Or you could run up to the Burger King and get an Impossible Burger where you'll spend less.
There's a Hudson Grill down the road from us too, and they also have the Impossible Burger now.
Do they?
I think it's better than this one. So
Okay.
I don't know.
So I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you. So okay, tell me between 1 and 10.
Well, I did.
You
6.
did. You said six and a half.
6.5. Yeah.
I'm just not a huge fast food fan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Wow.
Because just tasting
It's
it,
not even average.
even
It's
just
less.
tasting it
Yeah.
plain without like just pulling some of the patty off and tasting it, it's left this weird taste in my mouth that I'm not enjoying.
Interesting.
It's something.
So what you're saying is I get to finish this one off.
I might have one more bite with all the things.
Oh, I see how you do it.
Because I like the Burger King flavors. I like the mayonnaise. I like the white people food.
All right. Well, I think we had a fair review, and this is a review from vegetarians who, and I'm a very carnivorous vegetarian.
Yes.
I like meat, and I like my veggie food to taste like meat. And the closer to meat that it tastes, the better off I am. So it's one of the reasons I've been kind of excited about the Impossible Burger. But I will say my tip to you is enjoy the veggie burger, but enjoy it at a restaurant that really takes. That's not fast food. It takes a little more care to make the burger.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I went out to lunch. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast a while back or not, but I went out to lunch with some friends that I'm actually going to go have a housewarming party this weekend at their new place.
House hotting party. It's so hot.
Yeah. We went to one of my favorite little taco places here in town called Holy Taco. It's down in East Atlanta. And they've always had a vegetarian taco, and they've always had 2 different seafood options. So I've always had plenty to eat there, and that's kind of the reason I like it. But they now have an Impossible Chorizo taco.
Oh, really?
Yes. And
Interesting.
If you're a fan of chorizo, you will not know the difference.
So the chorizo itself is made with the Impossible?
With Impossible meat.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
I know that the Beyond Burger has a sausage, and I got to tell you, it's not that good.
It's not.
But the Beyond Burger itself, now the Beyond Burger has improved their flavor, and I like the new version better than the old. The Impossible Burger, let's just say Impossible Burger from Grindhouse here, 9.5.
Yes.
I'm giving it that.
Yeah.
Who was it that I went to? Oh,
They
man.
have it at the Porter.
Brick Store.
And they have it at
Brick Store has the Better Than Burger. Was it Better Than Burger? No, it's
Beyond
Beyond
Burger.
Burger.
Beyond.
It's Beyond Burger. Mm-hmm. I would give that a 7.5, maybe 8.
At Brick Store Pub in Decatur.
Yes.
Okay.
That burger's just not my favorite.
Right.
And they cook it well.
Right.
I mean, it's enjoyable. It's nice to have the option. So,
Okay. So,
But
yeah.
I didn't. What is it? Chorizo?
Chorizo. It's Impossible
I just
Chorizo
didn't know
taco.
they had that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Sounds good, though.
You've been there. We've gone there
Oh,
together.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they have great the Mexican style street corn with the mayo sauce with the chili and everything. Awesome. They have amazing sangria down there at Holy Taco.
Yeah, it's one of those places that if you're in Atlanta for a little while, go.
Yeah.
You need to go.
Yeah, it's down in East Atlanta Village, so if you're down there and you haven't tried it, give it a shot.
And then go hang around East Atlanta Village
Because it's fun.
That's a wacky place.
It is a wacky,
So
fun
much
place.
though.
That's where my
Very
vet is.
eclectic.
Yeah. So, okay, good deal.
Okay.
For those of you that are meat eaters and are trying to maybe get away from eating meat for whatever reason, health or otherwise, and you have questions about meat substitutes, you can always email us at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. And we have a lot of experience with meat substitutes, both soy-based and non-soy-based, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Now, speaking of questions, we got a little mail this week.
We did?
Little listener mail. I love it when we get listener mail.
Who did we get mail from?
Right here.
Oh, okay.
Remember talking about kind of addressing our topic from last week?
Remind me what his nickname is.
I think he mentions it there.
Oh, good.
But I think he gave it to himself, though.
That's fine. I'm okay with it. So, okay, so this is somebody I know, And, it's Jax.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Jax. So Jax decides to email us, and it's in regard to our country hell.
Yes, which
that
we just did
spoke
last
about
week.
on our last episode. And he says, "Hey guys, Jax here, and I just got done with country hell. To the question of best country song ever, I've got a top 3 personally. So he's going to give us his top 3, and these are all good. Okay, so number 1 for him, and I wonder." Okay, so top 3. So 1 would be, that's the top.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's start at the bottom. Number 3, his third favorite is "Should Have Been a Cowboy" by Toby Keith. I
You
mentioned Toby
Toby.
Keith.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's a pretty good song. Number 2 is "The Gambler" by Kenny Rogers.
We didn't talk a lot about Kenny, and that's kind of weird
That's
because
too bad, yeah.
I feel, because when I was growing up, and I mentioned this to my wife when I was kind of revisiting the episode because my wife likes country more than I do, I guess. And I was kind of reminiscent about growing up, and I thought it's weird because when I was growing up, the radio station we would listen to would play Kenny Rogers. And we mentioned Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed, songs from Smokey and the Bandit, right alongside Barry Manilow and Billy Joel and whoever else was doing. Everybody was doing the same thing. It just wasn't, the music wasn't as specified as it is now. The genre, you could mix some country. You could mix country ballads and rock ballads. No one cared.
Yeah.
And then you don't hear that much anymore.
Yeah, you don't. You really don't.
And Kenny Rogers, I think, was probably very instrumental in bringing country music to the mainstream. I think he was one of the first artists that people just didn't look at and go, "Oh, that guy's a redneck."
Was it him and Barbra Streisand who did "Islands in the Stream"?
Him and Dolly Parton did "Islands in the Stream."
Oh,
yeah, that was one of their big hits.
Okay, yeah, that was a great song. Okay, so Jack's number 1 song is "Take Me Home, Country Roads" by John Denver.
Yeah, wow.
Now,
Okay.
John Denver, to me, felt more folk than country.
He was very folky, but once again, the folk and the country, I think he was considered, now he would be considered Americana.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back then, it just the lines weren't drawn as quite as strong, and he was embraced by country fans just as much as he was pop. And,
That's very true.
yeah,
That's very
folk.
true. So, okay, so those are his 3 songs.
Yep.
He also goes on to say, "I will say that similar to Cheri, I used to be a pretty avid country music fan until I moved from Nebraska to Maryland for a couple of reasons. One of which, as I grew out of it due to new music tastes and exposures, which happens to everybody. You get exposed to new kinds of music,
Yep.
and you have a feeling for them, and you move on. The other of which has to do with a good portion of country music post 9/11. Post 9/11 really changed to more of that huge America and bro band style feel of music rather than country. It didn't feel like country anymore. It felt more like patriotic and pride. And these are I'm sorry. I'm putting my words in Jack's mouth, and I apologize for that. He stops where it says that huge America and bro band style feel of music rather than country. Stop. The rest of it was mine. I agree with him in that it did feel very patriotic at that point, and it became much more.
Well, it reflected the attitudes of the listeners. I think the listeners themselves, and country music listeners, I think generally tend to be more conservative, but I think their politics really became more conservative and more.
And you can't say that about
America
all
by
of
God.
them, but it just seems like overarching from an outside point of view.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think generally.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I think the lyrics started kind of reflecting those kind of attitudes. And I mean,
Right.
if you want to make a comparison, let's just say gangster rap, which that genre of hip hop reflected the streets. And when you hear the people who listen to it, a lot of people are like, why do you sing about that kind of stuff? And they're like, because that's what I came from. It's where I came from.
what I
That's
know.
the issues that I dealt with every single day.
Right.
So that was their point of view. And where a lot of people might not have understood it, it was them. It was who they are. And I think that's what happened to country and during that time is like those people who were, and again, I mean, it's real easy to kind of stereotype people, but I mean, just a lot of conservative attitudes became a lot more embracing the red, white, and blue and the flag and a lot of basic conservative values during that time. And so the music itself sort of started reflecting it. And then when you had artists who didn't, and just as an example, the Dixie Chicks, and if they offered a dissenting opinion, they were run out of town.
Basically.
You had to wave the flag during that time, or you just weren't country. And that's too bad. But
it is really too bad.
That's the way, at that time anyway. And I think maybe we're sort of coming out of that a little bit.
Really?
Music-wise, country music is not... I mean, there's aspects of it.
Music-wise. Yeah. Okay, yes, I hear what you're saying there. I will also say that we did get a review this week.
Really?
We did.
I didn't see it.
Well, it's because it was an in-person, face-to-face review.
Oh.
I was at work, and one of my coworkers and our avid listener and our man about town and our sneaky sticker.
Oh, boy.
I said hi, and he goes, "Hey, I was just listening to you in my car." And I was like, "Oh, that
wasn't me."
I was like, "That episode is basically just Rick and I trying to remember things."
That's the whole show.
And he goes, "Yeah, and trying to figure out what Americana is." And I was like, "Yeah, that's it exactly." And that was the review.
Yeah.
That was a review of our last show. It's just us trying to figure out what we can remember, what we can't, and what is Americana.
The whole show is just bullshitting anyway.
I know.
Pretending like we're experts on things we know nothing about.
Like we know shit.
Right. And that's kind of what we're doing here,
Yeah.
I think, ultimately.
But thank you to him. That was Donnie, by the way. Thank you, Donnie.
And thank you to Jax for that email.
Yes.
We love a response when you hear things, and we like to hear other people's opinion because our opinion doesn't mean anything. We just stumble through. So it's always nice to hear someone else's opinion. And especially when it's something like that we both agree on. So neither of us, I'm more of a country music fan than I used to be. Mm-hmm. Neither of us are big country music fans, even though I came from East Tennessee, almost like the country music capital, but certainly one of the bluegrass capitals of the world. But it's just not, again, now I like it more than I used to. I hated it when I was younger.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff I listen to now that I would hated myself for listening to.
Right.
And then like this, we're both vegetarians. We're having Impossible Burger. I just think it's great having a viewpoint from somebody who's not us.
Right.
Who's not
Wouldn't
gonna
that
say
be
the same
great?
thing.
If people
Yeah.
would just tell us their viewpoints, we are willing and able and eager to mention them on the podcast and discuss them and bring it into the discussion, because people keep saying, you need to do this. You need to have people that have actually experienced this. You need to do that. And they're right.
Yeah.
But we can't get guests. So what we have are listeners.
Yeah.
What we need is our listeners to participate. Otherwise, all you're going to hear is us. And basically that's all we claim to be is us. Because we can't claim to be, Sonny and Cher or anything like that.
I do want to mention two things from last week's episode, a couple of corrections. One, we found out a song that you had mentioned. You did the incorrect title.
I totally jacked it up.
And it's not your fault. And the way we found it out is because I was telling my wife, and she was like, "Is that one of her songs?" And I was like, "I think so." She was like, "I've never heard of that." And so, like I said, she knows a little bit more about country, so she looked it up.
It's Wild Angels by Martina McBride.
And it's a
not
mistake.
Wild
It's a
Horses.
mistake anybody would make.
And I haven't heard it in years and years and
Right.
years and years. I just remember having an emotional attachment to
It's a
it.
good song.
That's the only reason that I brought it up. Because I used to listen to that song on my way home from my second job, which was at a club where I did some backup DJing in Anchorage after working all day at a tanning salon.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is you were right about the country hell. I don't know why I had a block on that, but the things that had to be mentioned in the song for you can get out of country hell was mama, truck, God. But also one thing I forgot was the USA. So America or the USA was like the fourth thing. So one of those four things will get you out of country hell. So you can still play today. I still occasionally will do it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You'd be out of it pretty quickly with the way country music is these days. But I also wanted to mention, you had said that you spoke to Mike Faber earlier, or he made a comment or something. And did I mention to you that he and I went to see a movie together?
No. What'd you say?
We went and saw Quentin Tarantino's new movie called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Wow. You should have reviewed that because I'm kind of interested in how that is.
Well, I'll tell you what. Next week, I
Yeah.
will give you a good review. I'm going to tell you all about it. I can already tell you some things about it if you're interested.
Well, is it a good movie?
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple things I have to say about it.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and review it now.
No, we'll talk about it next week.
Okay, never mind.
Everybody come back and listen to it next week.
How about instead of that, I give you a dad joke?
I just want to say, too, that the thing that... Because I kind of wanted to see that movie, but there's a scene where an actor playing Bruce Lee is in it, and Bruce Lee's always been one of my heroes.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee's daughter got really kind of pissed off about it.
No, I saw that.
Yeah.
She wasn't really pissed off about it. What she was pissed off about is she was okay with taking fictitious license with his name and his character. She was fine with that. What she got mad about was an interview with Quentin Tarantino where he said blatantly, yes, he was like that. Yes, he said these things. And he wasn't, and he didn't. But we can go on about that because I have a couple other things that are in the media about the movie that I saw prior to seeing the movie and then have seen other things since seeing the movie, and I have some comments on those too. But what I would like to do is I would like you to go see the movie.
Oh, I would too.
Before next week.
I don't know that that'll happen, but I would like to.
Or you and I can go see it together. And then we can review it next week.
I don't know that I'll have time, but we'll see.
We'll see. It's a 3-hour movie.
I know.
So you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
You got to go to one of those movie theaters.
I don't have a lot of time for much of anything right this minute.
Food.
Okay.
So what did one eye say to the other eye?
I don't know.
Don't look now, but something between us smells. Come on. That's good shit.
All right, let's talk about this beer, and we'll shut down the podcast.
Forever and ever.
All right, so Three Philosophers beer, what do you think?
So this is by Ommegang, that's O-M-M-E gang. They're from Cooperstown, New York, and it's called Three Philosophers. It's a blend of quadruple ale and Belgian Creek ale with cherries. 9.7% alcohol by volume. I like it. It's not something... I mean, this is a 750 ml bottle. So if I were to buy this would be my evening. Like this, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This would just be like I'd have the bottle and be done. But that would be over the course of like dinner and it's a flavorful beer.
A lot of flavor in it.
I'm not getting much cherry.
The cherry is probably in the smell a little more.
Okay.
I smelled it. When you first popped it open, I've smelled the cherry more than I've tasted it. Yeah.
But there's nothing in it that tastes of cherry. But it's a good quadruple.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
But I like quadruples. Like I like, anything made by Trappist monks.
Yeah.
I will drink it.
I don't have any monk beer.
They tend to go with the Belgians, the doubles and the triples and the quadruples. Those are things that I like.
All right. So do you want to rate it now?
Yeah, I would give this a 4.
Wow. So way up there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to say, I don't know that I'll give it more than a 2. Maybe 2.5.
It's not really your style.
Totally not mine.
It's also pricey. So just keep that in mind.
I don't mind that. I'll pay for beer. Like I've had a couple of Dragon's Milk stuff that I've just a little pricey and it was pretty good. And some other things too. This one just doesn't do it for me. It's kind of, it's got a little bit of bitterness to it and just the flavors aren't leaning in the direction that I like. I tend to
you go more
smoky.
stout. You go more porter.
Yeah.
You go
I mean, I can handle sweet if it's got some smokiness to it. So it just didn't do it for me. I think I'd rather have some scotch.
This is one of the first times that you and I have disagreed this much.
That much. It may be the biggest gap in between the beers. At some point, I'm going to go through and pull out all those beers that we've done in the past. We're on episode...
You keep saying that.
87, so I would have to go through 87, plus all the ones from Life in a Kill podcast. And so that way we'll
tell
know
you,
for sure if we're going to stop reviewing.
If any of our listeners were bored and wanted to go back and just listen to like the last little bit of our episode and just list the beers that we've done for us, you don't have to go with the rating and we're not going to ask you to do that, but just list the beers that we've done on every single episode and send that to us. I would send them a t-shirt.
Oh, you will?
I will.
Okay.
I would buy them a t-shirt or a sweatshirt even.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. That would be it would definitely be.
They wouldn't have to listen to the whole
podcast
every time. They could either just listen to the
beginning
or the beginning when we say what we're drinking.
Well,
that's all we need to know is what we're drinking.
We usually repeat it at the end, and then if we got the rating, I think that'll be fine.
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay, speaking of that kind of stuff, we do want to mention that for October Halloween, we are going to have a story.
We're doing stories.
We're doing it.
Even if it's just us doing stories.
We would like for other people to participate. And look, these stories don't have to be huge, big, giant, involved stories. They could be 5 minutes. You could do a 2-minute story.
Yeah.
5-minute story is fine. In fact, unless it's just really, really gripping, 5 is a good story length for a story. Just stay with that. So if you will submit stories to us, you can send us an email saying, I want to do something, so we know that you're going to do it, and then submit it. You can kind of be a part of the Halloween story. We haven't got a name for it. We're going to come up with a name for it.
We will. But right now, it's just our Halloween show.
I got a question for you, a quick question. All right.
For me or for them?
A Halloween for you.
Oh.
Halloween type of question. Which, of all of the typical Halloween monsters, the traditional Halloween monsters, which do you think would be the most dangerous or the worst monster if it actually was real? Which would be, I won't say the most dangerous, but just the worst monster if it was an actual thing of the traditional kind of Halloween monster.
Traditional.
Yeah, but there's a lot of traditional. I'm just saying, you don't want to go with some, like an evil clown.
Right,
That's not really traditional.
Right. I would say the werewolf.
Werewolf? Why?
Yeah.
Do you have a certain
I do.
reason?
Because werewolves, here's the thing, so I'm going off of these creatures. I'm going off of the witch, the Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's monster.
The mummy.
The
werewolf.
Dracula. The
vampire.
Werewolf. The vampire. Zombies.
Oh, and zombies. Okay, so
wait
that's
a minute.
6.
There was another one that was in there. Skeleton. Ghost. Those
Skeleton and ghost.
Yeah. Did we say witch? Witches?
I said witch first.
Okay.
So that's 8.
All right. Those are kind of the traditional ones.
I'm still going to go with werewolf.
Okay.
Especially over vampire and witch.
Okay.
Way over skeleton, because you can bust a skeleton to hell.
I was like, what the hell are people scared of a skeleton for? Because even if you watch like old Vincent Price movies, when there's a skeleton in there, all it does, it'll like fade in, and then they'll show close-ups of it, and it floats across the room, and people are going, ah! And it's just floating. What is it going to do? What does a skeleton do? It can't eat you.
Just
it's
grab
got jaws.
Grab it
you'll
by
just
the
fall
spine
through.
and yank. That's all you have to do.
The skeleton, it dances. There's nothing. It's just, more than anything, it's obnoxious. Just get the hell away from me, skeleton.
Just go away.
That's like the worst monster.
Yes.
I think it's just because it is a skeleton. It reminds people of death. Their skeleton bones. It's kind of a but it's not scary. I don't know.
Frankenstein doesn't scare me at all. The monster. And in reality, the monster is not called Frankenstein. The monster is the monster. The doctor was Frankenstein. But
so you say the werewolf would be the worst. Why would that
Yes.
be?
Well, the werewolf is strong, has big teeth, big claws, can run, and has like no memory of its actual human side while it's in wolf form.
You're kind of going to the American Werewolf in London version, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you could fall in love with the werewolf before it's a werewolf and get
well,
really close to it,
when
and
the
then it
werewolf-
will turn into the werewolf and eat you.
And it doesn't matter who you are. And it won't care. It can't care because it doesn't have any memory of its human side. And that's what gets me is witches are human, right?
Yeah.
They have feelings. They can be reasoned with.
Sure.
Vampires can be reasoned with. These kinds of things. They have feelings and emotions and can relate. Werewolves can when they're in their human form, but when they're in their wolf form, that's all blocked out.
Well, American Werewolf in London is one of my favorite horror movies. And then I've never seen the one in Paris, the updated kind of sequel version. I never watched that, so I don't know how scary it is. But the first one, although there's a certain amount of cheese involved, I mean,
Sure,
and that's
sure.
what's fun. It's, it's kind of got that kind of silly B-movie kind of thing. But it's got some of the most scary, when they're walking along the moors and you hear those werewolf sounds, like in the old movies, it would be like, and they'd be like, oh, there's a werewolf out there. But this one is like, and you're like, it's like in your mind, you're thinking that's the scariest thing I've ever heard. And they're scared. They're like, and then when the guy, I don't want to do spoilers, but I don't know. It's some of the scenes, even though they're cheesy and whatever, they're some of the scariest horror scenes, I feel like.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah. The Frankenstein's monster doesn't scare me at all. Because he was a very emotionally troubled creature, and all he needed was a gentle hand.
That's sometimes all I need. I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to pick mine, and I'm going to say, first of all, I agree with you on some of the, that's like some of these things, like the mummy. Again, it's just because he's dead. I mean, what's the mummy going to do? He's
the mummy
tied up.
walks like this.
He's all tied up.
What is he gonna do? It's gonna take him an hour to get across the fucking room.
I always feel like one of the most overrated monsters would be the vampires. Even though if you look at the vampires like from the Lost Boys, those are scary because those would attack you and just totally eat you. I mean, those are really. But most
and
of the
they were
time,
fast. They could come from here to here. Yeah,
and they travel in a gang. So but most of the time, the vampires, I don't know, just like you have to get. And I think that the old movies kind of preyed on women, so he had to get like really close to you and to the point where you'd think you're going to actually have sex with him, and then he like bite your neck and you're
right.
So in my opinion, I think vampires are completely non-scary. They're weird and they're creepy. They sleep in a coffin and they suck your blood and stuff. But I mean, ultimately, unless you're talking about like Lost Boys kind of vampire,
they're also extremely vulnerable.
Right. Turn a light on.
Turn the light on. You got sunlight.
Sunlight,
You got garlic.
Yeah.
You got
holy water.
Silver bullet. You got whatever.
Yeah.
And they're dead.
Yeah.
It's like that's.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna say not to those, and sort of kind of the same with witches. Although witches can really plot against you and stuff, but that's kind of the old style. Most witches are just because witch is kind of a sexist thing. It's just because it's an ugly old lady.
It's a hag.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's the witches are kind of a hag. They're ugly and they're old.
Well, hag is a form of a witch.
Therefore, people don't like it. It's kind of sexist. I mean,
it's very sexist.
If you have like a hot witch like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, she's hot. And like Samantha Stevens from Bewitched, those witches are hot, and no one's afraid of them. They're only afraid of the old haggy witches because no one wants to. Again, it kind of reminds people of death. And the women aren't sexy. I think it's a sexist thing. All right, so I'm going to give you my top two.
Okay.
I think zombies are bad because zombies, even though they're slow moving, they're plotting, and in order for them to live, they have to completely devour your brain.
Yeah.
And they're hard to kill.
Yeah.
According to a lot of the current
They're really
stories.
hard to kill.
Yeah. So I'd be a little concerned about the zombie, but to me, the one that I would find the most frightening, if it was real, is Frankenstein's monster. That's the one you didn't find.
At all.
And not because of the monster, but because of what it means. Meaning that someone can put together a dead thing and bring it back to life.
With pieces and parts of other dead things.
Yeah, I think what it symbolizes and the possibilities that introduces, and zombies because zombies are a dead thing that's come back to life.
Reanimated, yeah.
Really, a Frankenstein's monster is a version of a zombie, but it's a zombie that someone has pieced together. So he has put together many parts from different people and built a life and then animated it. And I think that technology would be extremely dangerous. So
extremely.
The monster itself is very, very benign. I don't think. I mean, you could outrun it for the most part. Right. It's just big and scary. But I think the technology, and if you could actually do that, that would be one of the most dangerous things.
So you went deep.
I'm going deep.
I'm
going psychological.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
All right, people, thank you for joining us. We would like to hear from you, like we said. ThisEpicDisaster@gmail.com. See us on Facebook. See us on Twitter. See us on YouTube. See us on Instagram.
All those things.
Yeah, and communicate with us. Also, as always, if you want stickers, just tell us and we'll send you stickers. Because we can send you stickers free.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. I think that's it. I think that's all we got to say.
Yep.
Let's go.
We're out.
Let's get out of here. I'm going to finish my burger.
Same.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye. This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.